And welcome to Red's Classic Theater. We're not pulling the wool over your eyes this week. We've really traveled the mission to visit the Fraser Valley's charming Counting Sheep Inn. Hi, everybody. I'm Red Robinson. You could say the Counting Sheep Inn is a real sleeper. Did I really say that? Anyway, look, we'll show you what the B&B has to offer a little later. And, of course, we might even end up counting some sheep. Steve McQueen stars in our movie this week, the 1977 drama An Enemy of the People. Based on the Ibsen play, tonight's movie marked McQueen's return to the big screen after a 4-year absence. His friends advised him against making this thought-provoking drama. Moviegoers were more accustomed to seeing him in action films. But McQueen was adamant. When I believe in something, he said, I fight like hell for it. More about the reasons McQueen chose this movie later. Now, Act 1 of An Enemy of the People. This week on Red's Classic Theater, we're on a mission in Mission, doing a little information and wool gathering at the delightful Counting Sheep Inn. While Max, the Australian shepherd, keeps an eye on the sheep and lambs outside, guests are invited to relax inside in one of the inn's 3 cozy suites. This is the large carriage suite with its Ralph Lauren country furnishings. The garden suite features a private deck facing the pasture. And the second-floor Empress Suite comes complete with canopy bed and double jacuzzi. Outside, you can stroll the grounds, help feed the lambs, explore the barn, or collect eggs from the hen house for your own breakfast. It's a great way to get away from it all, even though you're just an hour's drive from Vancouver. More from the Counting Sheep Inn in Mission when Red's Classic Theater returns in a moment. There's something else you'll enjoy here at the Counting Sheep Inn, and that's their gift and wool shop. Among the items for sale, you'll find handmade socks and sweaters, lotions and bath potions, sheepskin rugs, jams and jellies, even a sheep tea cozy. To learn more about the Counting Sheep Inn in Mission, visit their website at countingsheep.com or call us tomorrow morning at TV 12 for a phone number. Now back to An Enemy of the People. Steve McQueen is starring in An Enemy of the People this week on Red's Classic Theater. On finding out that Steve McQueen wanted the part in tonight's movie, Hollywood insiders asked the question, why? Well, to hear the actor explain it, he said he wanted to tackle a project that he could actually fail at. He said, artistically, I've been a coward. And to underline his resolve, Steve McQueen turned down several movies that offered him over $1 million in favor of his pet project. Steve McQueen said, I've taken a lot of flack from my agency and insiders, and I very well might fall right on my duff, but I'll never know unless I try. While his acting peers may have been shocked by his choice of material, they were even more shocked by his appearance. McQueen put on so much weight and grew out his hair and beard so long that even his friends could hardly recognize him, much to the actor's delight. Now back to Steve McQueen in An Enemy of the People. We're in Mission this week enjoying the springtime weather at the Counting Sheep Inn. Tonight's movie had a production budget of $2 million, but one of the stipulations of Steve McQueen's contract was that he was to receive no upfront salary. Although Emmy winner George Schaefer was hired to direct the film, Steve McQueen literally took care of all aspects of the production, including his policy of closing the set to any outsiders. At the time, Steve McQueen hadn't given an interview in 6 years and wasn't about to do it now. He wanted the film to speak for itself, and he figured his name on a marquee would draw a large audience. But was there really another reason why Steve McQueen didn't want to publicize this film? We'll have more about that later. Now let's return to An Enemy of the People. We're featuring An Enemy of the People this week on Red's Classic Theater. According to Hollywood insiders, Steve McQueen may have had a more sinister motive for taking an Ibsen play and making it his first film in more than 4 years. At the time, Steve McQueen was under contract to First Artist Productions, a company he helped form so he could take over more control of his film projects. But McQueen had grown unhappy with the arrangements and wanted out, so he chose an Ibsen play with virtually no commercial appeal. But along the way, a funny thing happened. What started out as a slap in the face for First Artist Productions suddenly became a labor of love for Steve McQueen. He even convinced himself that this was going to be a huge box office success, a view not shared by anyone else. Now let's return to Steve McQueen in An Enemy of the People. From Mission's Counting Sheep In, time for our weekly movie trivia quiz. Of the 28 films that Steve McQueen appeared in, 2 were directed by Canada's own Norman Jewison. Can you name those 2 films? We'll be back with the answer in just a moment. Time now to see if your answers were correct. Steve McQueen appeared in 2 movies directed by Canada's Norman Jewison. The first was The Cincinnati Kid in 1965, and the second was The Thomas Crown Affair in 1968. Now let's return to An Enemy of the People. Next Sunday night on Red's Classic Theater, Matthew Broderick goes ape over a military assignment he's ordered to participate in. Helen Hunt co-stars in Project X, our movie next week on Red's Classic Theater. And that's all the time we have for this week. Hope you enjoyed Steve McQueen in An Enemy of the People. We'd like to thank Virginia Edwards here at the Counting Sheep Inn B&B for inviting us out. Now, if you'd like to know more about this relaxing bed and breakfast, call TV 12 tomorrow morning and we'll put you in touch. Speaking of tomorrow morning, I'll see you on 650 CI with the Wake Up Club, and next week here at 10 o'clock on Red's Classic Theater. From Mission, thanks for being with us, and good night, everybody. An Enemy of the People on Red's Classic Theater will continue. Red's Classic Theater from the Counting Sheep Inn in Mission will continue. Red's Classic Theater from the Counting Sheep Inn in Mission will continue. This week on Red's Classic Theater, our show is a real sleeper. We'll take you to the Counting Sheep Inn to tour this delightful bed and breakfast, and we promise not to pull the wool over your eyes. Our movie this week is the 1979 drama An Enemy of the People, starring Steve McQueen. The actor shocked his friends when he decided to appear in the film, but he had his own reasons, and we'll tell you about them. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Sunday night at 10 on TV 12.
This week on Red's Classic Theater, our show is a real sleeper. We'll take you to the Counting Sheep Inn to tour this delightful bed and breakfast, and we promise not to pull the wool over your eyes. Our movie this week is the 1979 drama An Enemy of the People, starring Steve McQueen. The actor shocked his friends when he decided to appear in the film, but he had his own reasons, and we'll tell you about them. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Tonight at 10 on TV 12.
This week on Red's Classic Theater, Steve McQueen stands alone against an unscrupulous town in An Enemy of the People, Sunday night at 10 here on TV 12. Tonight on Red's Classic Theater, Steve McQueen stands alone against an unscrupulous town in An Enemy of the People, tonight at 10 here on TV 12. An Enemy of the People on Red's Classic Theater, Sunday night at 10. An Enemy of the People on Red's Classic Theater, tonight at 10.